Good morning, peeps. All right, let's get back to this video. This is some more cloning chamber action with Donald Marshall. We're going to listen to some other people talk about it. Just a review from yesterday. The underground has been there for a long, long time. There's beings down there. Surface people have gotten in touch with these beings. Some of these beings are evil, and a lot of the surface people have come in contact with these evil beings, and there's a culture of being evil, trying to act like you're evil and trying to be even more evil. And we're not going to get too deeply into what they do down there, but it's a culture of torture and death. And let's just start it off with what we had yesterday with Donald Marshall. So let's see what he has to say here.
37. And yeah, they strap you to a rack and freaking slice you and everything. And people sit around in a crowd watching you in this big, well, not big. It's a stadium, and it has a hockey boarded ring, but it's smaller than a normal hockey rink. And the celebrities and kings and queens from weird countries are all there, sitting in the stands, watching this weird faces of death scenario thing.
So that's who's in touch with the underground. That's who's in touch with these evil beings in the underground that have access to basically magic and machinery and technology and understanding. Organic understanding basically is magic. They can influence the fabric of reality around us. Anyway, so he's talking about that. And the people that are in touch with the underground are these celebrity types in all walks of talent, and they've cornered all the different markets, from all the way from art to engineering to architecture, and anyway, and it's these royal bloodline types, whether they've been hijacked from, we don't know if they're the same sort of blood type royals, or these are avatars acting in their place, or they've been usurped by what we see now. But either way, it's the celebrity popular type people that are in these positions of status, and gatekeepers, and politicians, and these royalty types. Okay, that's who's going down there. That's how this all started. The cloning chambers started in the 20s and 30s because they could go have secret meetings down there, and no one would know. They'd be sleeping, and their consciousness would transfer into these clones that they have. This is a type of technology. Here we go.
Made people sword fight. They made me sword fight there. I got all chopped up as a clone. And the thing is, they can have multiple clones of you, right? Now, they got chips in these clones too, so they turn you into the next clone, like within a matter of 30 seconds. Like, deactivate one clone and go over to this one and click it on. And I've experienced it. It's everything goes black. You don't have dreams anymore. Some of the celebrities make songs. I've made songs for them there about not having dreams anymore, and your dreams are lost, and blah blah blah. Your heart this, heart that. Like, I made a lot of songs there.
Can I ask, Donald, how do you know that you're the real you?
Scars and clones. Well, these duplication clones can't walk around in public without what they call a handler. They have to be babysat so that they don't bite someone on the face or start a fire in a house, or they're like they go with the first impulse.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the episode of Family Guy where Stewie clones himself, but he doesn't do the cloning job right, and he creates what's known as bitch Stewie, who's really retarded kind of thing. Is that sort of what we're talking about here?
It could be. They make that cartoon. They make The Simpsons. They make all the movies and stuff. They made the Avatar movie. They make
The Simpsons. Now we know why they keep getting all the predictions right.
They own Hollywood, right? So, and they get their ideas. They all discuss stuff at the cloning station, like all night. It gets pretty boring there, because first, once they do the sex, and then they do death stuff to themselves, because they can turn. Somehow they have the tech to make the clone not feel any pain at all. They said it's something to do with how a person becomes a quadriplegic. Just the first second before they're quadriplegic, they can't feel any pain stabbing in the thigh or anything, just like a quadriplegic can. Well, but they can still move around and stuff. They've done it to me. It feels weird. Like, they let me stab myself in the forearm and go yick, right up the arm. It didn't feel anything, and it's bleeding and stuff. It's pretty gross, and all kinds of stuff there. There's nothing to do there, though, once you do all the stuff and the novelty wears off. But then you're not allowed to leave. And if you want to leave, well, they only keep you if you're used for something, well, good looking for sex or something, or have some kind of talent or something. And if you try to talk, you say, oh, they say people that think they're in the fifth dimension or the astral plane or something, they'll go to the police and say, the world leaders are taking me to the fifth dimension or the astral plane and victimizing me, torturing me, like Chris Benoit as well. They killed him. Well, he killed himself, but the thing was, they were torturing the hell out of him. Like, Insane Clown Posse had a song made about him, and I actually did the lyrics for the song. They made me do it because I didn't want to, because I liked Chris Benoit. The thing was, they had his wife and his kid there, and they started hurting them too. Well, they're not shape-shifting. The thing is, I'm going to tell you what the...
Okay, Chris Benoit, that's a weird reference. Chris Benoit. Whoops.
According to Wikipedia.
So this is Chris Benoit. So, not really sure what happened. I remember looking into this for a minute. I think he ended up killing his... Yeah, okay, so he ends up... So he ends up killing his family. I think I remember what this was. I think he was going down. I think it was like a mercy killing because they're all in there. I don't know. What a strange reference. But let's just check out Insane Clown Posse lyrics for Chris Benoit. Well, there you go. It exists. Okay, so let's just check it out. This is the first I've actually looked in this. I'm not going to read this because stuff builds up, fills up, too much goes overboard. So Donald's saying that he wrote these lyrics because he knows what Chris was going through. So he was basically just going crazy because they were taking him down there all the time into the cloning chambers, transferring his consciousness from his body into this technology. It won't let me go. Headed for the worst. Strobe light. Well, that's some MK Ultra reference, possibly. I dropped the wheel. The wheel. That's a weird reference. I remember something about that. Well, okay. Well, that's just wanted to check that out for a second. All right, let's go and see what else Donald has to say. So,
and this to people, because I'll tell you how the celebrities got into it. Back in the past, it was a political thing. They bring all the leaders of the countries in together, and they can all chat about stuff and enjoy this, sacrilegious, forbidden place, this cloning thing, and do whatever they can't do in real life. Well, they got real bored with each other because most of them are fat and ugly and bald and stuff. So they started bringing celebrities there. This is why JFK died, by the way, and Marilyn Monroe. JFK was going to talk about it, the cloning station. He didn't want to go. She didn't want to go. They had her there too. They said, we'll torture you at the cloning station if you talk about it. Anyway, um, yeah, that's like a big thing. That's why he died. Like, man. So, anyways, it's not the fifth dimension. It's just the cloning station, and cloning station with your clone pre-injected with drugs. Yeah.
Okay, let's not forget to, Donald doesn't know everything. He knows a lot, but he's just trying to make sense of all this and explain all of this, what he's experienced. So carry on, Donald.
The lizard thing. They just totally take them over. They do it a lot. It used to be, it's a Luciferian thing. They said that these lizards were the sons of Satan or whatever, Lucifer or whatever. They're not the...
Okay, again, reviewing from yesterday, the reptiles are down the reptile nation. There's many of them. Yeah.
They're just a species of lizard that survived the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Okay, well, I find that fascinating. That's a good place to kind of jump into this whole thing right here. I'm not even sure what this is. But this came up on oh man, okay, but okay. I'm hoping you guys will be able to see this because I have it on vertical, but hopefully you guys can turn it sideways. I don't know. The graphene oxide. In my next video, I'll post this and I'll do it sideways so we can all see this. So don't worry. Look what they're trying to turn us into. This is how they're trying to degrade us to the point where we're just eating bugs, parasites.
It's you and me, you won't be unhappy. If only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. You'll see if only
Hypnotizing them.
It's you and me. It's you and me. You won't be unhappy.
So the graphene oxide is part of the AI. So because the graphene oxide is what the AI lives through. It communicates into the organic realm, and so here again we see the theme of the reptiles being run by the AI, and the AI again is that insectoid hive mind. I think the AI is called Lucifer, so I don't know, but anyway, you can certainly see how that this is predictive programming, or this is what I would say. This is what they want to happen. So let's keep going.
What he's telling you, in light of all.
So that's pretty wild, isn't it? And don't worry, I'll put that video out sideways so that we can see that better. I mean, that just says it all. But anyway, let's get back to Donald, see what he has got to say.
Well, okay, a bunch of billionaires were scared about dying. They said they were so rich they can make people die. They can start wars. They can do anything in the material world, but once they die, they can't even take it with them. They're just dead, right? So a bunch of billionaires got together and said, we don't want to die. We want to figure out how to live again as clones.
Again, Prometheus, flash to Prometheus. Prometheus movie has the Nephilim, and the giants. And the first part of that, he's dissolving his DNA into the newfound planet to seed it. They had high technology, and remember in med beds, and the old guy that was the corporate leader was living far beyond his years, and had made that entire that military operation to that planet just so he could meet these Nephilim, right? Anyways, they were all negative beings. You have to go and watch that movie. But okay, so let's get back to Donald.
Right. Thing is, the clone is just like a negative copy of the person, though. So it's not even like the person living. It's a flawed copy.
Like a ghost.
So the thing is, what they do, they devised a way. I don't know how. The thing used to be as big as a circuit board, like that was not an Illuminati symbol, by the way. It's like
about the size of a fist, right?
Yeah, they tested this on a Chinese farmer. They showed me the video clips. Had it sticking out the guy's head and everything. Didn't call.
We're talking about microchipping here, or an electronic circuit board was put into back of a Chinese guy's head. Okay, so here we go.
Poseidon just sent him back home and said they had to do something to him. They whittled it down so that the microchip is supposedly the size of like just a bit bigger than an apple seed, right? And it can totally, and it's a flawed copy as well, but not as flawed. It can totally hold your mental stuff, right? Everything that you are, basically, but they need babysitters because they go pretty whack sometimes. They're missing some stuff. It's flawed. But the thing is, just like those lizards do with the eyeball thing and squiggling into the head, rich people can put their stuff on a microchip and set this into somebody's head and basically body snatch them that way as well. And they keep it secret because, of course, everyone... Well, they can do it to clones too, but there's more side effects if you put it into a clone's brain. So they basically body snatch people with chips in the head. And the lizard thing, they tried to convince me that, and others, that it was a worldwide takeover thing, that they had already taken over so much that all was lost. You better just go along with it. But that's not true. They're a very, very small part of the population, like under 5% or something. But they drone people like beautiful women, and then have the drones marry these men.
Okay, you hear that? They drone beautiful women, and more than likely, obviously, they clone beautiful women. So let's keep going on. I just want to point that out.
Whoever wants this woman, and they don't care that it's a lizard consciousness. They just do it, and it's still murdering the other person, though. But and it's pretty sick. So I had to tell the world, and yeah, I'm expecting to be killed. Really.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Can I just get clarification on something? Because you said that they can't kill you or they won't kill you or something like that before,
okay.
but now you're saying they probably will. I don't see the connection.
Okay, I'll get to that part. That's the part. But even with the crazy sounding stuff that I've told you already, this is another crazy aspect of it. Okay. The thing is, with all the songs that I made at this place, and they were bringing me back every single night and saying, sing a song or we're going to torture you. Next night, sing a song, we're going to torture you. Sometimes I couldn't think of anything, and they would just, like, stab me and watch me bleed there. And now they're all
Sing a song or we're going to torture you. Make a song or we're going to torture you. This is how he ends up making all these songs. Okay, keep going.
watching like it's a bizarre Faces of Death thing. And different people want to know what it's like to stab someone, so they send them up to stab me while I'm on drugs so I won't hit them or something. It's like that. It's very sick. And, well, I have to tell you, Queen Elizabeth is there. Stephen Harper, Canadian Prime Minister. Obama is there. Vladimir Putin is there. The Pope is even there.
Okay, so he says Putin was there. Now, remember, this is quite a while ago. I do believe they've cloned Putin, not cloned Putin, but they've doubled Putin. In other words, he's being controlled. The Alliance White Hats have taken control of Putin. And Putin is not the same guy. That's 100% for sure. So it's, so in this whole idea of devolution, where they take everything the Illuminati was trying to do against us, and they're using everything that they're using against us back on them. It's quite like, it's a boomerang, quite like Aikido. The force that you use against me, I take that force and I bring it back to you, but, 5 or 10-fold. Anyway, continue here.
All kinds of heads of different factions of different things. The head of the Mexican drug cartel is there.
Again, drug cartels, Mexican drug cartels are down there. Yeah, CIA operatives working in Mexico and throughout South America, Central America.
Mafia in Italy is there, man. Everybody is there. It's like the rich guy's crazy club that'll never get caught. And you have to be real privileged to go there. Well, I don't want to go there. And I'm not privileged there. I'm pretty low on the totem pole there, actually, probably the lowest. So anyway, they all threatened me never to talk about it, and along as I've been divulging this stuff on Facebook, they've been bringing me there and threatening me and stuff, and then asking me not to mention them specifically, what they've done there and stuff, and panicking really, and trying to deter me with stabbing my clones there, burning the clones and everything. And I'm telling you, it's like real. It's clear as day. It's not like having a dream unless they drug you.
Okay, so again, it's a rich boys club. It's an evil club. They try to be more evil than the other when they try to outdo each other, because that's just the nature of human reality when we get into situations like this, and they're trying to outdo each other. It's a pissing contest. They've got more money than God. This is more about power and influence. They're bored because it's boring. This is a backwards, dead-end technology. And he talked about the cloning and droning beautiful women. Now, I find that fascinating. So let's go over here to another guy, completely different guy. And these guys don't even know each other. They do not know each other, and I just wanted to. I should have this queued up already. I thought it was actually. So I'm a little upset here. Oh, here we go. It is queued up. Here we go. And we'll just listen to this gentleman here talk.
Father, we come before your throne boldly, and
I just wanted to say this guy's part of the 270 Club by his own admission. And the 270 Club is your IQ is 270. So I'll let you judge by what he has to say, but I'm convinced. I can tell what's going on here. I can tell this guy has got, information that you just don't get. You can't make this kind of stuff up. Okay, anyway, here we go.
Jesus, we ask you as our go-between and lawyer to...
You can pick which one you want to talk about.
No, you pick it. You pick everything that we talk about today.
All right, well, why don't you tell the clone story? And
I have two clone stories, and the one that was the best one was the one in, I have several, but the one that was the best one happened to me in California. And again, I don't know where I was in California. I knew I was there. And that was the bad part about my job. I rarely knew where I was at. I sometimes could tell I was in the United States, but couldn't swear to it. But this time they told me where I was at. I was in California. There was a Marine base there at that time. That's what they told me.
And you were a sniper.
I was a sniper. And they're using sniper guards everywhere at their base now. Why do you think they're using sniper guards? Because the signs aren't good enough anymore. And they will shoot and kill you, even children. So obey them. But anyway, I was at this base and I was told there was a lieutenant colonel and his wife. They had seen some strange things coming in and out of this base. And I asked the commander that was giving me the orders, I have the clearance. Can I please ask you, just tell me one thing, what you guys are making down there? I won't tell anybody, just tell me one thing. And he thought for a minute, he goes, we have an earthquake machine down there. I said, does it explode? He goes, no. It causes earthquakes. And it's a combination of the Army and the Air Force HARP.
Combination of the Army and the Air Force HARP. Okay, so HARP, this is Tesla technology. It's a ticker. It's basically what happens is it's an amplifier ticker. It's that's simplified. What happens is they put a pulse out, and that pulse keeps ticking on a regular interval, but each tick is slightly more powerful than the last tick until the point where it's like a ping pong. It just keeps going to the point where it will dislodge something. The power amplifies generates to a point where it's so powerful that it'll start an earthquake. They'll put this thing down in a crevasse or in a known earthquake zone. I can't think of what I'm. But no, we've heard of this before. They've used, and of course they can use a nuclear weapon device. Although I'm not totally sold that there are nuclear weapons. I mean, no, I know that there are. God, okay, forget about it. Let's listen to this guy. This guy's much smarter than me. Okay.
We have designed, we can cause one anywhere, but we're here where there's a lot of fault lines, and we can regulate the intensity.
They'll put it in an earthquake fault. That's what I meant to say. Thank you.
And I said, you can't do them rocks slip. He goes, we have people not from this world here that can. I said, really? And he said, we also have clones. I really didn't. I knew the clone meant, but I said, what do you mean by that? We have children, we have people here that look exactly alike, down to the freckle and last hair on their body. And we can make 100 of them or one of them.
Okay, so remember, we're here for sex bot clones. Good-looking women that are droned and cloned. That's called a honeypot. That's how you control. Okay, so that's why we're here. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Off of the original body. Is the original body alive? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The dead bodies are suspended in a fluid with all kinds of lines up to their head. And we keep them alive only to use the brain. Even though they can't function, the brain is a memory chip that retains information, and we are learning how to extract it. And I shook my head. I said, that's enough. I said, what do you want me to do with this colonel? He goes, he has the clearance, but we didn't want him up here, so we are going to let him up here and not show him everything. He already knows about the alien agenda, so that's where we're going to take him. And he's going to have his wife, and they're going to be coming up in a Cadillac. It'll be a pearl-colored one. And they're going to be a light, where the light is.
So somebody very connected is coming in to this base that he's protecting. He's up on a hill somewhere in a hidden location, as a sniper would, and he's overseeing all this. Him along with a few other snipers. And so he's going to tell the story of an elite, whoever this guy is, coming in, and we'll see what this, what they presented to these people. Okay, so we'll see what they saw in this.
I go, yeah, it's about two clicks away from where the entrance is. When he comes, that's where we tell you. When it's green, it's okay. When it's yellow, you look at it and report to us to tell us what you see. But if it's red, you shoot to kill the minute you see the first thing coming around that corner. I said, okay. So I sat there and waited.
So what was the thing turning green, yellow, or red?
It was just like a street light. And what it was because there was more than one sniper, like I told you, these bases. And at this base, just like S4, not Area 51, but S4, we knew nobody's allowed up there. Now, you see some civilian driving up there, no way, you're not getting in there. But so the red, white, and green, but they had the visitors that came that were high-ranking or in Congress or something, they were allowed to come in there, and the green light meant that let this car go. It's okay, don't even have to worry about it. The yellow light meant when it was on, they were everywhere. When the yellow light was on, they want us to look through our scope and report what we see to confirm what they know. And then they would either turn it green or red. If it was red, that means that the next car, I was at a place at about 1,100 to 1,200 yards away. There was a wide curve there. That's all I could see was that curve. And it went almost in a circle. We used to call them butt-kissing curves. Came up the hill and around this way here to the entrance. If it's red, the next thing, no matter what it is, even if it's an accident, because you're allowed to shoot anybody, you kill. And I want every sniper, 6 snipers in your area. And I better find 6 holes. And they better.
So totally mind conditioned to kill, right? 6 snipers, 6 holes. This is serious, I mean, if you're in yellow status, that's outrageous. And it sounds to me like he got put into red status at least a few times. At least once. Because, he's having to deal with all this. I mean, in the beginning of this, I fast forwarded, but he prayed for about, 2-3 minutes. Anyway, keep going, dude.
They better be dead, and there better be 6 bullets shot. Okay. So they come around there, and finally, the green light came on. And, and before I tell you that, there's a strobe light that comes on first to let you know that something's approaching. And then when it passes the laser going across the road, they said it what color the light's going to be. And it turned green, and I knew it was that colonel. He said the colonel had gray hair, and he's old, and his wife was young and pretty good looking in her 30s. He's about 60. And I looked, and she was better than good looking. I said, yeah, that's them, so I didn't worry about the green light. And so I decided I was going to climb up in a tree, because if I climbed up in the tree that was by me, I could see the entrance. I could see the whole base.
Was this daytime or?
Daytime. I could see the base, pretty much. The second building from the entrance was the most top secret. Why they did that, I guess it's how the obvious sometimes is the thing that get you. And I guess that's why they did, because I always thought, if it was going to be some net secret, they'd put it way somewhere else. But the second building, I just knew, I don't know what they were doing there. It was huge. I swear it was huge. I'll bet it was a mile by a mile building, metal building.
A mile by a mile. Just take that in.
And the doors on it, they had one set, it had all kinds of doors in the front, but it had one set of doors that would open up the whole front, and it took a hydraulic system with 13,000 pounds of pressure on the cylinders to open that door. So that just tell you how big it was. It folded. So I climbed up in that tree. We had things that we went like this, and they locked in our boots, and they were hooked so we could put them in the tree. I got up in that tree and got comfortable, sat down, and I watched. The colonel stepped the second building. I thought, this is cool. But what was even cooler is the doors were opening.
They never opened.
I only knew I couldn't see the other snipers but one. I looked at him, and he was on the ground, and I went, it's going like this, and it's going. He seen me, and I went. And he climbed the tree, and we watched intently. First, before we seen the clones, we seen two grays. Yeah, I'd seen him, but the other guy didn't. He fell out of the tree.
Two grays. Okay, so here we go again. These Darrows.
Worker grays or the tall grays?
I don't know. This are about 5 feet, 6 feet tall.
They were the tall ones.
The tall ones. I just don't know worker tall.
Detrimental robots, Darrows.
Just from that distance, unless there was two of them, sometimes there's something to compare it to. You wouldn't be able to tell.
So what did the grays look like?
They just had like you see on TV, and the bug eyes, but that's a suit.
But where were they?
They walked out the door.
This is not the first time we've heard of this. That's a suit. Did you hear that? They're bug eyes. They're big, coniferous almond eyes. If they've done autopsies where they're pulling the lids of their eyes off, and it's some sort of technology. But this is the first I've heard that there's more to that. There's a suit. So I find this fascinating.
The door opened, and there was a couple military personnel, and they had black squares over their rank. But I know they had to be at least, in Black Ops, lieutenant colonels and above were the only ones that could have the kind of top secret needed to go in there. And the NCOs, there were some NCOs that were allowed in there, but officers weren't. And I can't understand that, but that's because NCOs are like worker bees. They're expendable, and their diamond doesn't get any of them. But they had to have high clearance, and they would kill you. They were good. But I seen them come out with to the guys, and I want you to know, and everybody know, that the bug eyes and stuff is a suit.
Wow.
It's not them. It's a suit. I don't know if it's because of our atmosphere or what, but it's a suit. That's not their real eyes.
Have you seen them not in the suit?
Yeah.
What do they look like in the suits?
I seen them when they keep in jail. I seen one in jail inside.
I just want to interject this really quick. I'm pretty sure that sounds like Alex Collier interviewing him. So this is fantastic. Go ahead.
A jail cell and without a suit, and it had bigger eyes, but they're round like this. And he was pacing back and forth. And I went on YouTube and seen a picture of it, and how they got that I don't know, and I don't want to know. But a glimpse of it. Daniel Ott has it. Daniel Ott's where I seen it. And when
Wait. You saw this from Daniel Ott, or you saw this actually in a jail?
I seen one actually not in a jail from a long distance, but just for a little.
I'm not sure what they're saying. Daniel Ott, that's a rabbit hole. I don't know if anybody knows about that, but go ahead and search that. That sounds amazing.
I mean, just for a minute minute. And so I had to decipher real quick, and the other guy told me, because he could see it longer than I could, it was one of the aliens with no suit on. And when they opened the door, there was hundreds of suits. And that's when I found out. I said, and they were different color ones. I said, I'll be daggum. I always thought that was the alien. It is not.
An alien without a suit and thousands of suits, hundreds of suits. Wow.
Those big eyes do a lot of things. I heard there's weaponry in them.
So you saw a lot of suits when they opened?
Yeah, there was a whole lot of suits hanging. And there was weird craft in there. And I know that they were saucers. But you know what they were doing in there? And I'll tell you about the clones, but what they were doing in there, why the UFOs, this colonel came up because he was wanting to know why so much every night. That was a repair station for UFOs. for a certain kind that came out of the water. They were triangle. They didn't get bigger or smaller, and that's the only kind of crap that's seen coming in and out of there. The other crap that I seen in there, were our military fighter planes. But I did see one fighter plane that had the most unusual weapon I ever seen. I'd have to draw it to explain it. It looked like an overgrown tomahawk, but it was real ugly looking, like an A-10. It was an ugly looking thing.
The fasces. Check out the fasces. It's a series of cylinders connected together, wrapped together with what looks like an axe handle and an axe blade sticking out one end of it. Is this what he's describing? Energy weapons, all of these. Okay, so keep going.
I don't know what kind of weapon it was, but I knew it was.
So you climbed up in a tree, and the colonel drove up in his car?
In a car, in his civilian clothes. They gave me the green light, and they walked up there. But he must have been some kind of top dog in the White House or something, because he got to go into that second building. And I climbed that tree many a times. And the other guy said he'd been there for going on his 4th year, and he's never seen that door open.
When the door, is that the door that when you looked in you saw the alien suits?
Yeah. You had to use your scope, and we were so lucky because the scopes that we had back then were infrared, night vision, but what we liked about them, they were 60 power. One I got, here's 9 power. When I used sniping, most sniper guns, the first gun I had was only 9 power sniping. I could still hit 1,000 yards. These 60 powers were great, man. You could read name tags. I mean, and that was close. 1,000 yards with 60 power. That was like being on top of them. And so we could see them. And I was watching the general, and I told the guy, "So watch the general and look for expressions on her face, and you'll be able to see." Well, I couldn't lip sync because of him, and I had a feeling they knew I was up there, that they knew we were up there. But they weren't going to do anything because I seen one officer, 2 officers that were greeting him with the 2, and then the 2 grays went back in because they kept going like this, look, right at us.
The grays?
No, the 2 officers. But there was no way they could see us because the foliage was just so thick, and we were watching.
They knew they were there.
And I actually took and picked the leaves up so thick and made myself a little square window to look out of, or I could shoot up. And I know they couldn't see me, but they either had that intuition or they had something that told us we were watching. But he kept going like this, and he wasn't doing it because he wanted us down, because he knew we could all lip read or he would have said something. I guess it was just funny being watched. So I heard the guy go, and I read his lips, and the officer said, "It'll just be a few more minutes. Just wait right here. Ma'am, would you like some water or something to drink?" She goes, "I'll take a glass of wine." She got a glass of wine. "You, sir? I'd like to have a cigar." And I could even read the cigar box. They were Cuban cigars. And I know that they should send them to the president. So the president, when you see a Cuban cigar, this is just an assumption I make. I always made the assumption wherever I seen a Cuban cigar that they either knew the president or he had been there and gave him gifts. Well,
Now this was in the daytime or nighttime?
daytime. This was about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Because I think the other time you told it.
I've seen him plenty of times, a day and night. And I'm just getting in greater detail, and I happen to think about some of this too because I want to be accurate.
Then you must have seen him another time at night.
I seen him on
where you said a lieutenant had to was going to give you a signal, and at that time was at night.
Yeah, and I seen him at several different places. I've seen him so many times. It would take me hours to tell you what I've seen.
What, the clones?
Yeah, but this was the most extravagant display I've ever seen. It was scary. Anyway,
now we're getting to the reason why we're in this video. Again, to review, we're getting into this video because I'm trying to confirm that there's good-looking women that are being droned and cloned, and let's get back into it.
They brought like a picnic table out there, and they were sitting out there, and one of the officers smoked cigarettes, smoked a cigar, and they were drinking wine, and then food was brought out there. And then I guess it was time. And he said, they're coming. They all stood up, and they were looking in there. And these beautiful Playboy centerfold-looking type girls came out dressed in the same uniform. All of them looked the same. And we were making fun, saying, whew, if the man was to do bigamy, or whatever they call that. Polygamy, more than one wife, that'd be the way to do it, because they were, it's one of them things where, boy, I wish I was drunk so I could see 24 of you. And anyway, they all looked the same. And they stood there, and they didn't blink or move or shift their eyes or anything. And they were human.
How many of them were there?
12. They were human. But they looked alike, and 3 men came out briefly and went back in, and they looked alike. And all of them, including the women, had blonde hair and blue eyes, like an Aryan race. But I'll never forget the beauty. It was awestruck beauty, and I have never ever seen, to this day, women or a woman that would captivate you with beauty like those. And I guess that was part of their skill, you had to hesitate if you seen one. So I seen him talking, and I thought, well, what are they doing? They're just standing there. And he was looking at him, and
I just want to pause this right here because Richard Shaver talked about one of the biggest powers in our known world is what he calls animal magnetism, or what we call sexual attraction, as the modern day goes. And it's basically the power that attracts, it's almost like an electromagnetic energy, the power that attracts 2 people together, a man and a woman. And it's the power, animal magnetism, it's sexual attraction. It's the power that will change a man's life just so he can get a woman. The power of a man to cross continents and great divides just to be with the one he loves. The power of a woman to a man and to foster children and create an entire new lineage of children and beings. So Richard Shaver constantly talked about that. So here we are back again with, what do they use? What's the biggest power they use against us is drugs, which is basically a synthetic sexual attraction, and also the power of beautiful men and women here as honeypots, and we know how they use those type of operations where they film it or they get you to do something that you don't want to do because of the power of sexual attraction, or as Richard Shaver says, animal magnetism. I think that's a more scientific term, animal magnetism. Continue here, sir. Keep going.
You could tell in his face he was well pleased. So now I'm starting to think, well, this guy's part of the program. He had to be. And I couldn't read the lips of the guy, but he was giving them an order. So I just had to wait, and one of them stepped out, raised the camera so I can stand up. And she stepped out of line, clearly, and they all had a .45 in their holster. And she turned and looked at the other one, and they were smiling. And then I lip-synced, he said, shoot her. And she pulled out her gun. The other one was still smiling, and she shot her. And real blood and brains and everything flipped the back of her head, and she went back in line. Now, don't ever ask me how it works or nothing, because I don't.
Sex bot assassins. It's a theme in many movies, many comic books.
Want to know. But I'll tell you what, it scared the life out of me. Because here's the question that it raised in us. Who are we talking to when we're talking to them? Are we talking to, because about 8 months later, we seen 4 guys that looked alike, blonde hair and blue eyes, and he got shot in the chest, and blue came out, and the bullet exited, and nothing else came out with it, But my buddy, I didn't see it.
Okay, I'm just going to stop this real quick. Blue came out. Now that's interesting, right? I haven't even seen this video before until I stumbled across this, and I believe it's an Alex Collier interview. And obviously it's very old. Not very old, but it's old. Maybe 80s. And I found it fascinating that he said Blue came out. Okay, so let me... End of the Earth movie. No, hold on a second, sorry. I should have had this queued up. Ends of the Earth Tavern movie. Oh, hold on. Ends of the Earth pub crawl movie.
Here is some information about the World's End. Gary King is an immature 40-year-old who's dying to take another stab at an epic pub crawl that he last attempted 20 years earlier.
Fernando, he's here. The drumstick with Peanuts Blizzard and new caramel drumstick with Peanuts Blizzard? That's 2 DQ All-Stars. Wait, for 2 MLB All-Stars? Play it cool. DQ. Happy tastes good.
All right, go ahead.
Ever had one of those nights that starts out like any other, but ends up being the best night of your... That night.
pints. Good evening, Raymondo.
You come back and everything's sort of weird.
Gonna get to the World's End if it kills us. Let's finish our drinks.
Hold on a second. What I'm looking for is okay, so let's go. World's End movie, Blue Zombies. And hopefully, let's see, I can find a video of this. Nope, hold on a second. World's End movie.
The World's End is a 2013 movie directed by...
I am so sorry that I have to do this. What I'm trying to show is that if you go and watch this movie, in the movie, there's shooting these robotoids that have blue juice in it. I'm not going to subject you guys to that anymore. Okay, I'm so sorry. Let's just get back to this. Oops, let's get back. Where the heck was I?
Father, we come. Say Mortis, and he turned around and shot a clone. The problem being, doesn't matter about that, the problem scares us. There's, whether it's a human or a machine, worse if it's a machine, it obeyed orders. If it's human, but I'll never forget the beauty. It was awestruck beauty, and I have never ever seen, to this day, women or a woman that would captivate you with beauty like those. And I guess that was part of their skill, you know. I mean, you had to hesitate if you seen one. So I see him talking, and I thought, well, what are they doing? They're just standing there. And he was looking at him, and you could tell in his face he was well pleased. So now I'm starting to think, well, this guy's part of the program. He had to be. And I couldn't read the lips of the guy, but he was giving them an order. So I just had to wait, and one of them stepped out, raised the camera so I can stand up. And she stepped out of line, clearly, and they all had a .45 in their holster. And she turned and looked at the other one, and they were smiling. And then I lip-synced, he said, shoot her. And she pulled out her gun. The other one was still smiling, and she shot her. And real blood and brains and everything flipped the back of her head, and she went back in line. Now, don't ever ask me how it works or nothing, because I don't want to know. But I'll tell you what, it scared the life out of me. Because...
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and search for that clip out of the World's End movie. They don't show it in the trailer, but if what's going on in that movie is they're just attacked by Robotoids. It's another Shaun of the Dead. I mean, those guys are classic. But what I found strange was they were Robotoids in that movie, and their heads and arms would come off or whatever, but they could reattach them. But it was all this blue fluid. Now he just talks, or will talk about, and we're going to get into this in another video because I'm going to stop this right now. But he talks about these dude clones. He was talking about the women clones that were beautiful, but these also handsome, beautiful men clones came out, and one did the same thing and turned and shot the other one. They're all the same, but when he shot him, this blue hydraulic fluid. And when you watch this movie, World's End, it's hydraulic fluid. Now, I find that utterly fascinating and obviously very validating. And, I mean, what are the chances? We don't believe in coincidence, do we? I mean, what are the chances? Okay, so we'll just end it here. Thanks for listening, and I'm going to start another video about these clones. Okay, thanks, bye.